There is a specific kind of heartache that comes from opening the crisper drawer on a Tuesday evening and finding it. You know the feeling. It is that soft, slick collapse of a head of lettuce that was crisp and bright only 4 days ago. It is the brown, weeping spot on the apple that looked perfect when you put it in the bag. It is the smell, sweet at first, then turning sour, then turning into something that smells like decay itself. You stand there in the cold light of the refrigerator, holding a slimy leaf in your hand, and you do not just see rotting vegetables. You see dollar bills. You see the hours you worked to earn those dollars. You see the effort it took to drive to the store, to walk the aisles, to make the choice. And now, it is all turning into sludge in a plastic bag. It feels like a personal failure, does it not? We tell ourselves that we are careless. We tell ourselves that we are bad at managing our homes. But I am here to tell you that this guilt is misplaced. The failure is not yours. The failure belongs to a system that has forgotten how nature works. We have been taught to look at produce as if it were manufactured goods, like a box of cereal or a bottle of soap. We think if we buy it, it will stay the same until we use it. But a tomato is not a toy. A bunch of kale is not a tool. These are living things. They are breathing. They are aging. And when you bring them into your home without understanding their language, they will die on you. It is not your fault that no one taught you this language. The modern world moves too fast for slow wisdom. But today, we are going to slow down. By the time we are done, you will not just be buying food. You will be selecting life. You will have the verified rules to ensure that every cent you spend at the market ends up on your plate, nourishing your family, rather than in the trash can, nourishing the flies. I am Isaac Beiler, and I keep house and farm here in Lancaster County the way it was handed down to me before the world got so fast. My hands are rough from the soil, and my knowledge is old, but it is true. I do not speak to you from a textbook. I speak to you from the field, from the root cellar, from generations of people who could not afford to waste a single potato skin. If you value this kind of plain, practical know-how that the world is trying to bury, I would ask you to subscribe to this channel. It helps us keep these old traditions alive for the next generation. It tells the algorithm that there are still people who care about truth over trend. Now, one honest word so you trust me. I am not promising you magic. I am not promising you that your strawberries will last forever. Nothing lasts forever except the earth itself. But I am promising you that if you follow these steps, you will cut your waste in half. You will eat better, and you will feel a quiet pride in knowing that your home is run with skill, not just luck. You must understand why this happens. The grocery store is not designed to help you save money. It is designed to move product. Big brands and supermarket chains profit from your lack of knowledge. They want you to buy more than you need because they know a certain percentage will rot. That is built into their business model. They call it shrinkage. I call it theft. They miss the greens to make them look heavy and fresh, adding water weight that you pay for, while hiding the fact that the stems are already beginning to break down. They wax the apples to make them shine, sealing in moisture, but also sealing in ethylene gas that speeds up ripening from the inside out. The modern market runs on waste. It assumes you are ignorant. It assumes you will not notice that the berries at the bottom of the container are crushed. It assumes you will throw away the broccoli stems because you do not know they are sweet. This is a system that extracts wealth from your ignorance. But plain knowledge costs only pocket change. It costs attention. It costs a moment of pause before you reach for the bag. When you learn to see what is really happening in that produce aisle, you stop being a customer and start being a steward. You take the power back from the chain store and put it back in your kitchen. The first rule is to understand the breath of the vegetable. Everything you buy is still alive. It is respiring. Some breathe fast, some breathe slow. When you buy leafy greens like spinach, chard, or lettuce, you are buying something that is desperate to wilt. The enemy here is heat and dryness. But the mistake most people make is washing them immediately. Do not wash your greens until the moment you are ready to eat them. Water on the leaf invites bacteria and accelerates decay. Instead, look for leaves that are turgid, meaning they are stiff and full of water. If the leaf bends easily, it is already tired. When you get them home, wrap them in a dry cloth towel, not a plastic bag. Plastic traps the ethylene gas they exhale, which rots them from the inside. The cloth allows them to breathe while keeping the humidity high. This is the old way. We used to say the greens need to sleep in a damp blanket, not swim in a pool. By keeping them dry on the surface but humid in the air, you can double their life. Remember, when you prepare them, use level measurements for any dressing or salt. The line between medicine and poison is the dose. Too much salt draws out the remaining moisture and ruins the texture. The second rule concerns the heavy hitters, the root vegetables, potatoes, onions, carrots, and beets. The mistake here is storage compatibility. You cannot store potatoes and onions together. This is not an old wives' tale, it is chemistry. Onions release gases that cause potatoes to sprout and rot prematurely. Potatoes release moisture that causes onions to mold. Keep them in separate, dark, cool places. When buying potatoes, avoid any that have green skins. That green is solanine, a natural toxin the plant produces when exposed to light. It tastes bitter and can make you ill. Choose potatoes that are firm and dusty. The dust is good. It means they have not been washed and scrubbed, which removes their natural protective barrier. For carrots, look for those that are stiff. If the top is limp, the carrot is dehydrated. Cut the green tops off immediately when you get home. The tops pull moisture out of the root. If you leave the tops on, you are essentially letting the carrot bleed its sweetness into the air. Store the roots in a container of sand or sawdust if you have a cellar, or in a sealed container with a paper towel in the fridge. This keeps the humidity high without wetting the skin. The third rule is about the illusion of perfection in fruit. We are trained to pick the biggest, reddest, shiniest apple. This is a mistake. Often the smaller fruits have a higher concentration of flavor and sugar because the tree had less volume to feed. When buying apples, ignore the shine. Look for the stem. A fresh apple has a flexible greenish stem. An old apple has a brittle brown stem that falls off when you touch it. Also, smell the blossom end. It should smell like an apple. If it smells like nothing, it will taste like nothing. For berries, the mistake is buying from the bottom up. Always lift the container. Look at the berries on the bottom. If they are stained with juice, they are already crushing under their own weight. Buy only if the bottom is dry. And never wash berries until you eat them. The fuzzy skin of a strawberry holds water like a sponge, and that water breaks down the cell walls. Treat berries like eggs. Handle them with fear. When you cook with them, remember that berries vary wildly in sweetness. Use level measurements for sugar. If you guess, you will either mask the fruit or ruin the dish. Precision respects the ingredient. The fourth rule addresses the cruciferous family: broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage. The mistake here is ignoring the florets. People look at the size of the head, but they should look at the tightness of the buds. In broccoli, if the yellow flowers are starting to show, it is past its prime. The plant is trying to reproduce, which means it is diverting energy from the stalk to the flower. This makes the stalk woody and bitter. You want tight, dark green buds. For cauliflower, white is not always best. A slight cream color is fine, but brown spots mean age. The scientific reason is oxidation. Once the curd is exposed to air, it begins to degrade. When you bring these home, do not seal them in airtight plastic. They produce a lot of ethylene. Store them loosely wrapped. And here is a secret. The leaves of the cauliflower and broccoli are edible and delicious. Most people throw them away. Do not. Sauté them with garlic. They are tender and sweet. Again, when seasoning, use level teaspoons. The sulfur compounds in these vegetables are potent. Too much salt can make them taste metallic. Balance is key. The fifth rule is about avocados and stone fruits. These are climacteric fruits, meaning they continue to ripen after harvest. The mistake is buying them hard and waiting, or buying them soft and panicking. You must plan. If you need an avocado today, buy one that yields slightly to gentle pressure near the stem. If you need it in 3 days, buy one that is rock hard. To speed up ripening, place them in a paper bag with a banana. The banana releases high levels of ethylene gas, which signals the avocado to convert its starches into sugars and fats. This is controlled acceleration. Do not put them in the fridge until they are ripe. Cold temperatures halt the ripening process permanently. If you put a hard avocado in the fridge, it will never ripen properly. It will just rot from the inside while staying hard on the outside. Once ripe, move it to the fridge to pause the clock. This gives you a window of 2 or 3 days instead of a few hours. Respect the timeline of the fruit. The 6th rule concerns herbs. Fresh basil, cilantro, parsley. The mistake is treating them like flowers in a vase, which is partially right but wrong on the details. Basil is tropical. It hates the cold. Never put basil in the refrigerator. It will turn black overnight. Treat basil like a bouquet of roses. Trim the stems, put them in a glass of water on the counter, and cover the leaves loosely with a plastic bag to create a greenhouse effect. Cilantro and parsley, however, love the cold. Wash them, dry them thoroughly, chop the stems, and store them upright in a jar with an inch of water, covered loosely with a bag in the fridge. Change the water every 2 days. The mistake people make is letting the stem sit in stagnant water. Stagnant water breeds bacteria that travel up the stem and rot the leaves. Fresh water is life, and when using herbs, remember they are potent. A little goes a long way. Use level measurements when following a recipe. Overpowering a dish with cilantro is as bad as having none at all. The 7th rule is the most important. Buy local and seasonal when possible, but if you must buy from the chain store, buy ugly. The modern aesthetic demands uniformity, but a twisted carrot tastes the same as a straight one. A scarred apple is often sweeter because the tree produced extra sugar to heal the wound. By buying the imperfect produce, you often get it at a discount, and you are fighting the waste system directly. You are telling the store that you value substance over appearance. Look for weight. A heavy citrus fruit is juicy. A light one is dry pith. Shake a melon. If the seeds rattle, it is overripe. Listen to the produce. It speaks to you if you are quiet enough to hear it. These 7 rules are not complex. They are observations. They are respect. They are the difference between feeding your family and fueling a landfill. Now, let us talk about what you usually throw away. In a kitchen run with care, there is no such thing as garbage. There are only ingredients you have not yet learned to use. Take the broccoli stems. Peel the tough outer layer with a knife. Inside is a core that is sweeter and more tender than the florets. Slice it thin and stir-fry it. Take the carrot tops. They are bitter, yes, but they make an excellent pesto when blended with nuts, oil, and cheese. They add a depth of flavor that basil alone cannot achieve. Take the onion skins and the ends of your celery. Do not toss them. Put them in a bag in the freezer. When the bag is full, boil them with water for 2 hours. Strain it. You have just made free vegetable stock. This is liquid gold. It is the base of soups, risottos, and sauces. To throw this away is to throw away money. Consider the water from cooking beans or chickpeas. It is called aquafaba. Whip it and it becomes meringue. It is a miracle of science and thrift. Consider the rinds of hard cheeses like Parmesan. Throw them into your soup pot while it simmers. They release umami, a savory depth that salt alone cannot provide. Fish them out before serving. Nothing is wasted. This philosophy changes how you shop. You stop seeing a bunch of kale as just leaves. You see leaves for salad, stems for sautéing, and tough ribs for blending into smoothies where the fiber is needed. You stop seeing a chicken carcass as trash. You see bones for broth. This mindset shifts your entire relationship with food. You become a creator, not just a consumer. You honor the life that was given to feed you by using every part of it. This is the Amish way. We do not waste because we respect the gift. And in respecting the gift, we find abundance where others see scarcity. Let us look at the numbers, plainly. An average family in America throws away nearly $1,000 worth of food every year. Much of this is produce. If you implement these 7 rules, you can conservatively cut that waste by 50%. That is $500 back in your pocket. $500. That is a new winter coat for each child. That is a repair for the roof. That is savings for a rainy day. But the return on investment is not just financial, it is qualitative. When you buy with intention, you eat with intention. You notice the flavor of a tomato that was allowed to ripen on the vine, rather than one gassed in a truck. You teach your children that food is valuable. In a world that treats everything as disposable, teaching a child to care for a head of lettuce is a radical act. It teaches patience. It teaches observation. It teaches that actions have consequences. If you neglect the greens, they wilt. If you care for them, they thrive. This is a lesson for life, not just for the kitchen. Your children will carry this wisdom forward. They will know how to select a melon. They will know how to store potatoes. They will know that the stem tells the story. This is heritage. This is legacy. I want to hear from you. I want to know who is listening. Tell me in the comments below what state you are in, what county you call home, and how old your house is. I read every word. I like to imagine the places where this wisdom is taking root. Are you in a farmhouse in Ohio? An apartment in New York? A cottage in Maine? Let me know. It builds our community. It reminds us that we are not alone in wanting to live with more purpose and less waste. If you have found value in this plain talk, please subscribe. It is a small click for you, but it is a large signal to the world that these old ways still matter. Next time, we are going to talk about something that most people sweep off their porch and curse. Ash. Wood ash. You might think it is dirt, but I am going to show you what a single cup of wood ash does to your lawn and your garden soil. It is not just waste. It is potassium. It is lime. It is balance. But you must use it correctly, or you will burn your garden to the ground. Join me next time, and we will turn another piece of trash into treasure. Until then, keep your hands in the soil and your eyes open.